patterns with a little bit of teaser on adverb adjective presuppositions. All right. Next, we're going to go into our full treatment of the adverb adjective presuppositions as well as how to tactically use it. So remember, adverbs describe verbs, adjectives describe nouns. Beyond that, you don't need to fucking know anything. That's all the grammar we're going to cover, because this is not your mama's grammar. This is hypnogrammar. So, in classical languages, most languages, the grammatically correct way to use descriptors is subject or action, descriptor. So in classical, proper, written, spoken, prose, whatever you want to talk about, the most common way to do this, the most accepted way to do this, is to put the descriptor behind the things it describes. You will never do that again. You will do it deliberately wrong. It's not really wrong, but in terms to have the maximum hypnotic power, you must put that descriptor before the action or before the subject. So always. So instead of saying the hamburger, that was juicy, you say the juicy hamburger. See how see how your experience changes? It's the same subject, same descriptor. Syntax, order and sequence by which you do this. Everything that follows the descriptor, the neurology, first of all, is forced to be accepted as true and acted upon as true by the nervous system. It's presupposed. The juicy hamburger, what does that presuppose?
Juicy.
It's juicy. What else?
You're gonna have a hamburger.
That there's a fucking hamburger.
Yeah.
What else does it presuppose?
You're gonna have it.
You're gonna bite into it and in some way determine it's juicy, right? All those things are embedded in the deep level of the sentence that never reach conscious awareness, but they're processed as literally true, just in order for your neurology to make sense of it. In other words, for your conscious mind to contemplate what was said, it has to make it true, so you have something to contemplate. You follow me? Okay. So, in language, in speaking, you can load this up ridiculously. You can use 4, 5, 6 descriptors in front of the thing you're describing. It's not as easy to do that to that degree in writing. Now, I'm going to hammer you in a minute because I want you to feel what overloading your language is like. Okay? And I want you to actually do that for training purposes. I want you to go to the extreme so that when you back it off, there's a healthy, a healthy proportion of solid descriptors in your language. So now as you easily begin to fully understand the tremendous power to which these amazing language patterns can rapidly install themselves deep inside the levels of your mind, you'll gradually or rapidly discover for yourself new ways that you can begin to use them as your brain automatically begins the process of reorganizing itself in such a way that you can fully and completely riff this hypnotic language effortlessly, on demand, whenever you want, or intuitively to get the results you want without even realizing you're getting them. And as the awareness of that power seeps its way deeper and deeper into your neurology, you'll rapidly realize that whether you wanted to do it or not is irrelevant, because I've already given your neurology instructions about what to do, so there's nothing left to do but feel really good about it.
You can actually track all that. That's amazing.
Now remember what I said.
Okay.
I recall what I said.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
I'm going to be good at language.
I'm gonna be able to finally talk.
David said so. Right? But when I was riffing, did you feel a little bit of pressure build up behind your eyes a little bit? Maybe a little tension? That's what happens when you load it up. And then when you back it off, that pressure goes away and they go, ah. That's trance. So we're doing, in this case, I'm using deliberate cognitive overload. And then I back it off and it feels normal. But in regular speaking, just using easily, naturally, automatically, that's fine. Right? So you can, and notice, even though I overloaded my language with it, like Ross said, you can actually track it. You're not trying to analyze it, it just feels too good to listen to. You guys notice that? It's like you get just sucked into the la 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 la.
You want to believe it.
I know. It's cool, right? It feels good to listen to it. So when you utilize this language, you will generate absorption in the listener. they will orient on you to the exclusion of everything else. They may check out, but they'll be basically bathing in your verbiage. They'll be luxuriating in the string of instructions you're giving them, because it feels good, right? When you ask them to recall what you said, they'll sum it up in some short message, but they'll lose the verbiage entirely. So if they were NLPers trying to metamodel what you said, game over. You can't metamodel this stuff fast enough to beat it. Okay? And for every one thing you catch, 10 more went in. Unchallenged. And if you want to make sure it goes in unchallenged, you say, and now. And everything that was there is gone. And you can't get it back. Right? So, in speaking, feel free to load it up however you want to load it up. When you write them, and this is where it's going to be a little bit more technical. And when I describe this process that I use, it kind of sounds like a sex position. Right? It's called 2 in the front and 1 in the back. And what that means is, whenever you create a sentence, it's descriptor, descriptor, subject or action, descriptor. As you easily and naturally begin to automatically understand how to use 2 in the front and 1 in the back, you can begin logically to understand that this structure quickly and easily begins to allow you to utilize powerful hypnotic language in a very compelling and naturally sounding way, even in writing.
Seth went out.
He's probably in a food coma or something. Seth spends a lot of his time asleep in the front of my class.
That's why he has to come to 52 classes.
Which is funny because he audio records every single one of them. Reminds me of stories Bandler used to tell back in the day when he would like riff hypnotic language. And he has customers from all over the world. So he has this big Asian contingent that comes in, this big South American contingent. They have these translator booths. And one day he's just telling story after story, and all of a sudden all the Japanese people and all the Colombian people, they're going,
oh no.
And they run, the translator. Gone. I love tormenting my transcriptionists, because I'll send them copies of my inductions. It'll be months before I get it back. Every now and then they go, but I'm teasing. Anyway, so easily, naturally begin to automatically, right? Logically and intuitively, for all the right reasons, see the truth behind what I'm saying. See the structure? Reads very, very well. It creates a very powerful, very absorptive experience for the reader. If you're going to write compelling copy, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, sales and direct response, whatever, this is a very, very good way to do it. And nobody taught me this. I came onto it kind of on my own.
So it's descriptor, descriptor.
Subject or action, descriptor. So logically and intuitively, as you recognize the power of this completely, logically, intuitively, subject, object, completely. See how you can just plug it in? Does that make sense, Ross? Yeah. This will make writing things very, very easy for you. And everything that follows these descriptors is presupposed. It diminishes cognitive analytical capacity. It drops their 7 plus or minus 2 down to 3 plus or minus 2. Right? So not only does it feel good, they both lose their desire and their ability to analyze it, to find flaws in it. Okay? And if they're emotionally invested in the interaction as well, done. Emotion is the key. Body feelings. Everything goes back to feelings. Once the feelings change, what are they done? What's just happened? On a mechanical level, what do we do? When we change their body feelings, when we give them a body feeling, what happens? What mechanism makes sure that? What mechanisms do we get? Who's got the microphone? Shit, he's asking us questions. Fuck, I wasn't expecting this. I thought I was going to show up, go into trance, take some notes, go home. Fuck you. Right?
So what you're saying is this will work to interrupt the emotional refractory period?
They're already in it, right? Because we've given them body feelings, haven't we?
Yes.
We've activated their state through our body language, through our state control, through our state management. 3 magic questions, echo technique, and criteria and values. So we've given them body feelings, we've given them emotional feelings. Their emotional refractory period is already 90% honed in on going where we want to go anyway.
So say they're in a hostile or an argumentative emotional refractory period with you already. And can you diffuse that with this
Absolutely.
language?
Yeah. Well, no, you diffuse it with your own state by aligning with what they're pissed at.
So you just switch it up on them, basically, as you
I get
you
mad
agree
at what
with
they're
them.
mad at, and then I get madder.
Okay.
And then they'll try to calm me down, and then all of a sudden we're in vibrational alignment, and now they'll listen to whatever I say.
And then you use the language pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But can you see how you might not even need to?
Yes.
Because you've stacked the deck so much that if you just let nature take its course, they're probably going to take the action you want by default. But you can fine tune it and make it even more powerful and more directive by leveraging your language. Okay? All right, so let's write some sentences. Even though a lot of you have been doing this already, let's make it explicit now. Okay? And remember what this pattern does. It forces the recipient's internal representations, their visuals, their auditories, their kinesthetics, their olfactories, their gustatories, to be exactly what you describe. And because they're self-generating that content, they don't resist it and automatically assume it's what you meant. People do not resist themselves. I was talking to a group earlier. Every word in these categories, especially the adverb adjective category, is like a transparent container. The word is the vessel. The listener fills in their own content. If I put orange juice in this container, it would look orange. If I put coffee in this container, it would look brown or black. If I put water in it, it's going to be translucent. If I put lemonade, it might be yellow. If I pee in it, it's going to be yellower. Right? The word itself doesn't change. But the listener puts their own interpretation into the container. And they assume that's what you meant. So you can words like comfortable, satisfying, fulfilling sound very, very specific. But her version of satisfying may be different from Ross's satisfying. But you'll both fill it in and assume that's what I meant. Because you at the end of the day, human beings do not resist themselves. And everything that's following these descriptors is presupposed. The neurology is going to act on it as if it's literally or figuratively true. Okay? Super powerful and fun. It's one of the easiest language patterns to riff on. Most of the words end in ly. So, words in this category.
Biggie.
Huh?
Biggie.
Big league. There we go. Where'd I put my marker? Words in this category. Easily. Naturally. Automatically. Unlimited. Simply or simple. Logical. Intuitive.
It's a separate page in the manual.
61.
Thank you.
60 and 60.
Okay, those are just samples. You can find lots and lots and lots of these in a thesaurus. And you can keep a small list of them beside your phone or beside your computer monitor when you're chatting or Skyping with people, and just randomly riff them in there, work them into your speech. You'd be amazed how people just go, okay. That's literally what they do. The head starts to nod, they get a little bit of a blank look, and go, okay. Don't believe me, just go do it. Okay? So go ahead and write some sentences. And again, I'm not going to spend quite as much time with this one because we've kind of been touching on it multiple times throughout cause and effect, complex equivalence, and awareness. But now I want you to really focus in on it.
It's a really good idea to put a list of the words next to your computer. Then you get to use them all the time in practice. Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's changing your environment to
Make your environment more conducive to the work you want to do.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I put sticky notes all over, so I do that anyways. But
I bet your cleaning woman loves you.
Yeah, I didn't think about putting a list of words.
Yes, sir. Two descriptors, then a subject or an action, and then another descriptor. Quickly, easily, naturally, automatically, unlimited, intuitive, logical, simple. The juicy hamburger. Juicy is the descriptor, hamburger is the subject.
Okay. That's the two descriptors, then.
Then a descriptor behind the subject or the object. Logically and intuitively, as you begin to understand how to create this pattern fast, you'll rapidly discover all the interesting and wonderful ways that you can play with it and have fun and learn it at the same time. Okay, so just pick a subject or an object, right? Write down like the hamburger, write down hamburger, okay? And in front of it, write the big juicy hamburger, or just write big juicy. And then behind it, the big juicy hamburger, tasted. Good. Right? Now, take this same phrase, hamburger tasted, change the descriptors. And notice how your experience of that sentence changes every time you change the descriptor, even though it's the same subject. Yeah, just plug them in.